What's up, y'all? I want to talk to you about something because I was just trimming my beard, and I was thinking to myself about how I have had so much in the past, just getting ready in the morning. I've had so much anxiety, and I never labeled it as anxiety. I don't know why there was that trigger, that reminder when I was trimming my beard in the morning about literally 18 months ago, how much anxiety I would be filled with in the morning, and how that was no different than 5 years ago, when I would be doing the same thing and I would be filled with anxiety. And it's funny because I've never really openly talked about my own anxieties. Anxiety is a really intense and strong word for it, for that sort of struggle that we have in our mind. But I was just being honest with myself this morning, and I was like, wow, I've really struggled in the past with anxiety. And there's still times where it'll come up in my life, but it's not like it was at all. It's not like it was at all. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, why is that? Why is it that I don't have as much anxiety as I used to? And, the reality is, there's so much truth to this, but the reality is I've learned what I don't need. I've learned what I don't need. And I'll give you a very specific example of that. If you're working in your job and, you really hate what you're doing, first of all, we like to, and I've done this, put our problems on someone or something else. And there might be truth that you're not in the right fit of a job or whatever it might be. But the reality is there's something up here that isn't right, that is causing something out here to feel really wrong. So for whatever isn't right out here, it's magnified by whatever isn't right up here. And I hope you guys are still following after that. But I was in, a job, for example, that I was just saying to myself, this isn't right. And I kept telling myself it was the job that wasn't right, but really it was my choice to be there. And I started learning, really in hindsight, but I had the peace to leave that job on Wall Street. And then I started learning everything about what was really going on after I left. I started learning in hindsight about what I didn't need in my life. Money or prestige or reputation or all these other things that I would fight for, even women. I started learning what I didn't need. And then I slowly started learning what I did need. So as soon as I was starting to figure out, wait, I don't really need this job to prove my value and worth to other people in this world, or even more importantly to myself, then I started realizing, wait, but actually I do need to take care of myself. And then I would have, the anxiety shifted from what I don't need, and the things that I was placing value on that I don't need, to the things that I do need that I wasn't placing value on, like my personal health. And it's so powerful to be able to have that understanding, because it allows you to live so much more free. And, for a lot of us, people come to me, and I do life coaching. Still don't even know how to describe exactly what I do. It's a combination of advising, counseling, coaching, consulting. Yeah, there's so many aspects to what I do. And, when people come to me, they're coming to me. Some of them are coming to me with this surface level question of hey, something in my life just isn't right. Whether it's a relationship, an occupation, just general direction, or, just their headspace, and they don't even know how to articulate something in my life. My headspace isn't right. The way we typically articulate is hey, my mindset needs to change about something. I don't know how to break free from this. They're looking for solutions to the things in their life, but really the solution is inside. And it's normally, when a lot of people who offer, just empowerment to to others, they'll provide it through, and you'll see this all over online, life hacks, tactics. And for me, like, tactics just never worked. I knew that they were not a long-term solution, right? You could, if you were unhappy with your life, you could wake up and start drinking juices in the morning and start feeling better, and you could trick yourself into thinking this or that with this, tactic. But really what needed to change was not even a strategy, but a mindset. And so that's been my whole approach to, the change and transformation that's happened in my own life practically. And at the core of all of this is my relationship with Jesus. Like, at the core of all of this is when I truly started letting go of control of certain things in my life and giving that to my Father in heaven, and realizing that I could have a relationship with my Father in heaven with Jesus, through Jesus. And that was a whole, spiritual transformation that had been going on for over a decade. But that combined with everything else I'm talking about, and actually seeing, like, wait, tactics and strategies and things like that, they just don't work. Like, you need to get your mind right. And using that approach, or seeing that approach in my life, and then using that approach when working with others, has really provided this, like, sustainable, transformational change in my life and in other people's lives. So with that said, that brought me to today, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing that I get up in the morning and, I'm drinking my green juice. I'm going down to the beach, and I'm literally giving my worries away to the Lord, just in the water, and then coming back. And, I'm married and I have a beautiful wife, and I'm, like, truly enjoying my life. And I'm like, man, there's so much here that I just don't need, that I have, that I am so grateful for. And it really started, like, gratitude as a tactic itself is like, yeah, sure, great, gratitude's great, but it's like gratitude as a mindset is so much greater, in that there's so much that I don't need, that I recognize and acknowledge I don't need, that I have. And with that hard understanding, it's totally changed, my approach to the way that I'm living. And it's actually changed how I live. And it's changed how I run, like, the coaching business, and how I even articulate things to people, and even just, like, the peace and stability I have when trying to communicate on social media more. Like, it changes your demeanor and your confidence. And so what I'm getting at is, like, there's a lot of ways to go about making change in your life. And I think, anxiety for a lot of people is one of those things that we want to change. We want to see go away. Our problems and things that happen to us in life, some of them are self-inflicted, some of them are not. And they can cause that anxiety. But in order to really, truly understand how to make that change, it's not anything that you do. It's actually something that is inside of you, in your mind, and ultimately in your heart. And, like, this, some of the greatest philosophers and for me, who I go to, Jesus, he was always talking about thinking with the heart. And for me, that's been a huge shift, is learning that my mindset is actually in my heart posture, and understanding that it's in the heart, that our emotions are really what's going to dictate the quality of our life, not our thinking. Because the quality of our life truly is, you could have a brain of a genius, rocket scientist, and if you have $1 billion and you're the smartest guy on the planet, but you feel like dirt, well, guess what? Your quality of your life probably stinks. If you have, a wife, a family, and an amazing job, and it really ultimately, like, some of the things that I was facing is everything on paper looks good, but inside I just was not in the right place in my heart. Quality of your life kind of stinks, no matter what you have, or how grateful you could be. If you're not truly grateful inside, it doesn't matter. So, for me this morning, I was just reminded, this simple act of getting ready in the morning, and how much, how grateful I am for how much change that I've gone through. So I hope that is encouraging for somebody. And I know I don't really talk about it that much, just explicitly like that, but I felt like it needed to be shared. So I hope that's encouraging for somebody.